I've been avoiding this topic, but it's time we talked about it. Amazon. It's convenient, it's everywhere, and for most of us, it's where we buy books. But over the past few months, something has changed. More and more people are deciding they don't want to support Amazon anymore. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't, but either way, let's break it down. Because this is a conversation about more than just books. Okay, so let's deal with the real question. Why are people suddenly talking about boycotting Amazon? What exactly has happened? Amazon boycotts aren't new, but this time something feels a little different. The latest wave of protests are a direct response to Amazon rolling back its diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, DEI. Part of a larger trend of major companies cutting back on commitments they once said were essential. Amazon once positioned itself as a company that valued inclusivity and progress, but now they've slashed DEI programs, fired employees working in those areas, and stopped funding key initiatives, all while continuing to profit from diverse books, authors, and creators. But that's not the only reason why. Over the years, Amazon has and continues to do things that cause these boycotts. So let's just rattle off a few, shall we? Amazon owns books. They control 80% of the ebook market and over 50% of all book sales, give or take. That's beyond monopoly territory. Worker treatment is also a disaster, to put it lightly. Warehouse injuries are the highest in the industry, and workers are frequently exhausted due to heavy surveillance. Delivery drivers, they're underpaid, overworked, and pressured to deliver at all costs. Kindle Unlimited is a raw deal for authors. Authors are paid by pages read, not book sales, and Amazon consistently changes the payout system, making it impossible for indie authors to plan their income. Worst of all, Kindle Unlimited demands exclusivity, no Kobo, no Apple Books. It's Amazon's way or nothing. I'll go into a little more detail on this particular nugget later. Not to mention the fact that they barely pay taxes, they crush small businesses, and they promise to go green and conveniently miss their targets. And that's just a short list. So if you're thinking about doing a boycott for any of the reasons I just listed, you might be wondering, is it really worth it? How much impact will I have? So you might be thinking, okay, well, is this actually going to change anything? It's Amazon, they're huge. Fair question. The thing is, history tells us that boycotts work when enough people take part. Companies don't change out of the goodness of their hearts. They change when their bottom line is at risk. In other words, money talks. Remember when people started boycotting Trump-branded products in 2016 under the Grab Your Wallet campaign? It worked. Many retailers cut ties with those products, and so it shows that consumer spending has power. Now let's talk about Amazon. Are they untouchable? No, and here's proof. In 2020, bookshop.org launched as an alternative to Amazon. Years later, it's funneled millions into indie bookstores. Even Libro.fm, an Audible alternative, reported that they've seen a 275% increase in memberships from the last year. The only reason? People are switching from Audible to Libro.fm. Will you alone boycotting Amazon change the world? No. But thousands of people changing their habits? That's when Amazon starts feeling the heat, and that's when alternatives grow stronger. So even if you can't quit Amazon completely, every step away from it makes a huge difference. So if you think a boycott or at least a reduction of Amazon use is for you, let's see how to do it. Here's what we'll cover, so buckle up. Alternatives to buying books from Amazon, alternatives for ebooks, alternatives for audiobooks, what to do if you already have a Kindle, what about indie authors, and then alternatives to Goodreads for book tracking. If you want to buy books but avoid Amazon, you have so many better options. Whether you're looking to support indie bookstores, shop secondhand, or grab a discount, here's how to do it without giving Amazon a penny. Think of bookshop.org as an Amazon alternative built for book lovers who actually care about independent bookstores. Every purchase supports local bookshops, and the best part? You can even choose a specific bookstore to support. If you don't pick one, your purchase goes into a general fund, which helps indie stores across the country. This one is only available in the UK and the US, so if you're looking for more online bookstore options, here are some of my favorites. Better World Books, World of Books, and Wordery. Just make sure to check that they can deliver to you in your specific country. Next, your local indie bookstore. If you're lucky enough to have an indie bookstore nearby, this is where your money makes the biggest impact. Plus, you get the added bonus of recommendations from a real human bookseller, not an algorithm pushing bestsellers. Some local bookstores even have subscription boxes where they'll send you hand-picked books each month based on your taste. What about library sales and secondhand bookstores? If you want to build your home library without draining your bank account, used books are your best friend. Here are some ways you can make the most of these. Library book sales. Libraries often sell donated and old books for ridiculously low prices, so check your library's website or ask a librarian when you're next there when their next sale is. Thrift stores and charity shops. Local charity shops are amazing. I honestly can't tell you how good it feels when you find a really good book in a charity shop. It's like a treasure. If you want to buy secondhand online, places like eBay, Vinted, Depop, and more usually have some really good finds, and the websites that I listed earlier, some of those are secondhand too. Ditching Kindle doesn't mean giving up ebooks. There are plenty of ways to keep reading digitally without giving Amazon a dime. Kobo. If you're in the market for a new e-reader, Kobo is a fantastic option. Honestly, if my Kindle broke tomorrow, I'd get a Kobo. Kobo has a huge selection, including indie books. Oh, and if you're addicted to the Kindle daily deals, don't worry, Kobo have their own too, which is pretty cool. Libby, Overdrive, and BorrowBox. Your library is an underrated goldmine for ebooks. Libby by Overdrive and BorrowBox lets you borrow ebooks and audiobooks for free with just your library card. Some libraries even have Kindle compatible books, so you don't need to leave Amazon entirely, but you're not paying them. Although you do have to be in certain countries or have certain devices for it to work. For example, you can use BorrowBox in the UK, but you have to have an Amazon Fire tablet to be able to read the books on your tablet. Fable. You might know Fable for its book clubs, book tracking, and reviews, but you can also buy ebooks directly through the app. Again, this is only for US folks, sadly though. If you're in the US, bookshop.org now offers ebooks also, which means you can buy ebooks and give money to indie bookstores while you're at it. Direct from authors. Some authors sell DRM-free ebooks through their own websites or platforms like Gumroad and PayHip. This means you own the book, not just a license like on Amazon. Yes, you can ditch Audible without giving up audiobooks. Here's how. Libro.fm. Libro.fm lets you buy audiobooks and support indie bookstores at the same time. You get to choose your local bookstore that you want to support, or even just one in a different area. I've been using this service for a really long time, and honestly, I love it. Kobo. Kobo isn't just for ebooks, they have audiobooks too. Your library. As I mentioned earlier, you can get ebooks from your library, and this applies to audiobooks too. Libby by Overdrive and Hoopla let you borrow audiobooks for free with just your library card. If you have a Kindle, I get it. So do I. For years, my Kindle was my go-to for reading. I loved how easy it was to buy new books, how many books there were on offer, and now here I am rethinking my relationship with it. I'm currently on a book buying ban, which means that I'm not purchasing any Kindle books anyway. I have also never used Kindle Unlimited, so I don't have to make a decision there. But I do have a digital library full of books I already own, and my plan? I'm gonna read through them before I decide what comes next. Will I get a Kobo and gift my Kindle to someone else? Will I keep it but change the way I use it? I don't know yet. But if you're in a similar place, let's talk about your options. First of all, you don't have to, nor should you, throw your Kindle in the bin, purely for environmental reasons. Here's what you can do legally to continue using your Kindle while reducing your reliance on Amazon. 1. Read what you already own. This is the easiest and most immediate option. If you've already bought ebooks from Amazon, you still own them, even though Amazon technically has the license and power to revoke access. Annoying, I know. Work through your Kindle library before making any big decisions. Borrow library books if you can. You can borrow library books through your Kindle via Libby and Overdrive, allowing you to check out library books and send them straight to your Kindle. If you're in the US, if you're outside the US, you can still borrow ebooks through Libby, but they might not be Kindle compatible. You'll need an alternative e-reader or the app for that. Use Calibri to convert non-Kindle ebooks, which is legal for DRM-free books. Calibri is a free open source tool that lets you convert ebooks to Kindle-friendly formats. This is 100% legal if the ebook you're converting is DRM-free. This is where things get complicated. Boycotting Amazon doesn't just affect the company, it affects the authors who depend on it. For many indie authors, Amazon is not just their biggest source of income, it's their only source of income. And that's because of Kindle Unlimited. So let's break it down. Kindle Unlimited, KU, is essentially Spotify for books. Readers pay a flat monthly fee for unlimited access to enrolled ebooks. But here's the catch. Indie authors must agree to exclusivity. If an author enrolls a book in KU, they can't sell the ebook anywhere else, not even on their own website. They are completely locked into Amazon's system for at least 90 days at a time, and many stay permanently. Authors are not paid per book sale. Instead, they are paid per page read. Their earnings come from a fixed monthly pool of money called the Kindle Unlimited Global Fund, which Amazon determines in secret. The per page rate changes every month, so authors never know exactly how much they'll make, although they can make an educated guess. Amazon decides how much authors get paid. The more total pages are read across Kindle Unlimited books, the less each author earns per page. If Kindle Unlimited subscribers read more books in a month, Amazon doesn't increase the fund, it just spreads the same money thinner. In 2015, authors earn about this much per page. By 2025, the payout has dropped to this much or lower. To break this down, let's look at how much authors actually earn in Kindle Unlimited. Let's say an author has a 300-page book in Kindle Unlimited and a reader finishes the whole thing. In January of this year, the per page payout was this. So 300 pages times that amount per page is $1.23. In comparison, let's say you're selling an ebook for $2.99 outside of Kindle Unlimited, but still on Amazon. Amazon offers two royalty options for ebooks, 70% and 35%. To qualify for the 70% royalty rate, the ebook must be priced between $2.99 and $9.99. Otherwise, Amazon pays only 35% in royalties. Since we're pricing this ebook at $2.99, it qualifies for the 70% royalty rate, which means we would get $2.09. But here's a catch. Amazon charges a delivery fee for each book sold under the 70% royalty option. This fee is 15 cents per megabyte of the book's file size. The average file size of a 300-page book with minimum images is around 1 to 1.5 megabytes. For a 1 megabyte file, a delivery fee is 15 cents. So after deducting the delivery fee from the amount that we get $1.94 per ebook sold. So if we compare the two, the Kindle Unlimited earnings are $1.23 and the direct sales earnings with 70% royalty is $1.94. This means an author makes less in Kindle Unlimited than from a regular ebook sale at just $2.99. So what does this all mean? Some indie authors make a living from Kindle Unlimited because of the trade-off is that being on Kindle Unlimited can give authors a lot more visibility. Amazon makes Kindle Unlimited books a priority in search and recommendations, and you already have access to a really strong subscriber base willing to read or try indie books. Essentially, the marketing side of things is taken care of. The ones who succeed in Kindle Unlimited usually write a lot of books, often in a series, and rely on high volumes and binge readers. Plus, if they write longer books, say 500 pages, they'll earn more, getting that price closer to a direct sale ebook. If an author only has a few books, however, they might earn less than minimum wage. Shorter books like novellas, poetry, or non-fiction often make even less because they rely on page count. So what is the answer? What should we do? Some readers have decided to boycott Amazon but keep Kindle Unlimited as a way to support indie authors. If that's you, here's how to make the biggest impact. Keep Kindle Unlimited but only for indie books. Skip traditionally published books when you use Kindle Unlimited. Big publishers don't rely on Kindle Unlimited, but indies do. Buy an indie author's book and read it on Kindle Unlimited if you can afford it. If a book is available for purchase and in KU, buy it first, then read it on KU. This way the author gets paid twice, once for the sale and once for the pages read. This is especially useful for shorter books where Kindle Unlimited payouts might be low. Use Kindle Unlimited for discovery and buy physical and digital copies of their other books if they're available on their website. A lot of authors who have Kindle Unlimited books also have other books that they've written that aren't on Kindle Unlimited on their website that you can buy directly from them. Many authors sell directly on Ko-fi, Patreon, Kickstarter, or their own websites where they keep 80 to 90% of the profits too. If you're serious about avoiding Amazon, however, there are still things that you can do to support indie authors if you don't want to use Kindle Unlimited. Buy direct from the author. As I've already said, many indie authors sell ebooks or books in general through their websites, Kickstarter, and more. This is the best way to support them because they keep nearly 100% of the profit or close to. So look at an author's website or social media to see if they sell direct. Support their memberships. Some authors use Patreon, Ko-fi, or Kickstarter again to fund their writing. Sometimes you get exclusive content, early releases, or bonus material. Request their books at libraries and indie bookstores. If an indie author's book is available for print, request it at your library or local indie bookstore. Libraries pay for books and let more people discover indie authors. Indie bookstores can special order indie books. Many authors distribute from Ingram Spark or direct sales. Leave reviews and spread the word. It's free but powerful. Leave reviews on the Storygraph and other platforms and post about the book on social media. Word of mouth is huge for indie authors, so recommending their books in things like Facebook groups, Discord servers, and book clubs that you're in or online. Okay, so we've taken care of buying books. What's next? Yes, that's right, good old Goodreads. At first glance, Goodreads doesn't seem like a big part of Amazon's monopoly. After all, it's just a book tracking platform. You're not spending money there, right? So why does boycotting it still matter? The answer? Your data. Amazon doesn't just use Goodreads to recommend books to you, it uses your activity to influence its entire book-selling ecosystem. Here's how that works. Every book you add, rate, or review feeds Amazon's algorithms. When you mark a book as want to read, Amazon knows it's trending and pushes it in their store. Your ratings, shelves, and reviews help Amazon decide what books to promote, not just on Goodreads, but across Kindle, Audible, and Amazon's storefront. This reinforces Amazon's control over bestseller rankings and book trends. Goodreads also helps Amazon overshadow indie bookstores as a result, and books that are trending on Goodreads get more visibility in Amazon's search results. This means Amazon controls the online conversation about books, making it harder for indie bookstores to compete. Aside from that, Goodreads is outdated, slow, and full of fake reviews and review bombing, making it unreliable for honest book ratings. So if you want to ditch Goodreads, here are some better options that aren't owned by Amazon. The Storygraph. I've talked about the Storygraph a lot on this channel, and as far as Goodreads alternatives go, it's my favorite. So far, Fable. Fable is a book tracking app that focuses on group discussions and curated book clubs. It's modern, very fun, visual, and has more social media-like features than the Storygraph. I've gone into detail on Fable in a previous video as well, if you'd like to take a look. There are many others, but I want to test them out properly before I recommend them to you. So stay tuned for that video if you're interested. Guys, that was exhausting. Breaking down Amazon's hold on the publishing industry is not an easy job. It's a vast, massive entity that has its claws in everything. However, the good news is we have lots of alternatives, and I mean lots. And the more we support them, the bigger they'll get. Vote with your money, guys, because as a collective, we can have a huge impact. So let me know in the comments what you'll be boycotting that Amazon does. I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for another video.